My name is Gleb Sabursky, and I'm the founder and co-founder and president of Intentional Insights. And we're going to be checking in on what's been going on in the organization recently. Now, so this is a part of the board meeting. We have all the other board members. Here on this phone call present are Andrew and Alex. And besides me are Agnes right here and Serena right here. So other board members, a variety of other participants who are coming in, so thank you. Now the organization is doing pretty well in all areas except financial. We are doing highly well in terms of outreach. We've been collaborating with a number of groups, and most recently, yesterday, we did a presentation for Indivisible Columbus with them to launch the Pro-Truth Pledge, and as a way of getting people to commit to being oriented toward the truth and being concerned with the truth. And you type in the Pro-Truth Pledge website, Agnes. Thank you. So Agnes will type in the Pro-Truth Pledge website in the chat, and it's protruthpledge.org. So our goal there is to get folks to, as a way of legislators to take the pledge and various other public figures to take this pledge to be oriented toward the truth. And Bentley will talk more about it. He is the coordinator of the pledge. But that was a really exciting event. There are a lot of people who were really committed to it. We had news media coverage of this, and they were quite interested in the story. So this seems like it has the potential to go pretty big. And so, major topic of this conversation. Now, besides that, we are working on a number of radio interviews and so on, and newspaper articles published. We had our actual biggest accomplishment in terms of we published in the New York Daily News, which is the 4th largest newspaper in the United States, and we had quite good press because of that. So that's exciting. People are reaching out to us from other organizations who are interested in the work we do. And so that's been really great. I'm actually going to have a conversation this Wednesday with the Annenberg Public Policy Center, who run factcheck.org. So awesome. That's an example of like outreach that's a result of our activism. So the financially is the biggest, finances are our biggest area of challenge. We have a number of people who have recently joined the organization, and they have some of them haven't yet started giving, and we don't. So we have a big challenge with making ends meet. We have fixed expenses of about something like
$2,600 per month.
$2,600 per month, and we have one-time large expenses occasionally. It's approximately $45,000 a year, and so we are currently getting in something like 400 in donations per month. So that is a big financial challenge for us, and so that's we're focusing more efforts on outreach and impact and promotion, but we don't have enough. So that's kind of what's a challenge for us. So just informing people about that, and for that to be part of the conversation on the table. So right now I welcome you to ask any questions, and you can chat in the chat if you have a question to ask, and then unmute your microphone, and after have your responses and responses to any questions you might have, then we can go on and talk about the Pro-Truth Pledge. Cool. So Robert Hulse asks, do you have a fundraising person specifically? No, we don't. All the fundraising currently is being done by myself, professional fundraising experience. Tiny bit from Agnes.
Well, you have experience now over the past 2 years that you learned.
But not professional experience. Academic, I come from that background. So I come from a background where I had to learn how to go to people and ask for money. It's not my skill. It's not my forte. The only reason I do it is that I'm the recognizable public face of the organization. Nobody else is known and is capable of doing what I do. So we don't have any staff. We don't have anyone who would be able to do this challenge. Thank you for asking that question, Robert. Okay. Other questions? So if you have a question, you can unmute your microphone, or you can ask in the group chat, whatever you prefer. Yeah, raise your hand if you have something to ask. Yeah, so Robert recommended that at least one board person be dedicated to these tasks. We're actually having a board retreat in late May, where all the board members would be getting fundraising training, be getting all the board members would be getting activities, would be doing fundraising. So yes, thank you. Thank you, Robert. Peter asked, with the recent emphasis on rational politics, do you see more grant opportunities? Yes, we do see more potential for grant opportunities, but that again takes time and efforts for people who would be grants, and this isn't a short-term strategy. So grant opportunities are something in the long term that would pay out in something maybe a year or more. Something, if anyone wants to help with this. So,
No.
Yes, let Agnes know, she's coordinating this. What we're going to be doing in the short run is we're thinking of doing a fundraising campaign with a match to get people to donate based on matches that have succeeded in the past. We're also in the medium term going to do a mailing to some people. We got some addresses for people who would be interested. And so we're going to be doing some mailings, and hopefully we'll get some new donors coming in that way. Yeah, so Andrew said that grants are a great opportunity if someone other than me can devote time to it. Yes, so if we have people who are willing to do it, they can get in touch with me or Agnes. If you know Agnes, that's straightforward. She's kind of running the grants program. We have tried in the past some of this stuff for grants and financial education, and we didn't get those. So it's a pretty big investment of time and effort, and it's quite challenging. I've done some of this in the past, and stuff I'm doing, I'm doing about 1 million things, well, about 1,000 things, and it's not the best use of my time. Cool. Other people with questions? Again, you can unmute your microphone if you have a question, or you can chat. Yes. So Andrew said the Knight Foundation. Cool. Thank you, Andrew. And Agnes will note that. Okay. Count to 5, and then at least for a group of. Andrew said that there is probably room for a committee, at least for a group of grant writers, grant researchers, and writers. Yes, I think there is definitely.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Andrew. All right, I'm gonna count to 5, and if type your question or turn on your microphone if you have something to add. And if not, then we'll go on to the Pro Truth Pledge, and I will ask, say a few words.
Hey guys, I'm gonna unmute my mic so I can faster if I talk than if I type. So
please go ahead.
Who is this? What's your name?
This is Robert Hulse.
Okay. Hi, Robert.
Hey, Two things come to mind when we're talking about this. First, I think the fundraising thing is important, and I don't think a single person can do it. Grants might be one way, but grants often require that you start to mold your mission and what you're doing sometimes around the desires of the grantees. And it may not be a long-term funding solution. There are other organizations that are out there that their missions might resonate with what InIn is doing. I think off the top of my head, like nolabels.org is one that's trying to work across. It's a specifically political one. But it might be worth getting some people that are willing to volunteer some time to work with Agnes specifically to do some canvassing, to get out there and like what's out there, what's available, and then parallel to that, have somebody come up with a very brief synopsis that we would present to certain people to say, this is what we are, this is what we need. And then, of course, we always have the more in-depth stuff, but just to kind of have that one, the 3 bullet point kind of presentation thing where people say, this is what we're about, this is why we need the money, this is how we're going to use your money. And then, but I would definitely, Gleb, I would take that off of your plate and let some other folks come alongside you to do that, so they can focus just on that while you're focusing on the organic stuff, the organic work of the group. Because we can get so bogged down in financing that we forget what we're really trying to accomplish, and that's to affect people's behavior.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why the organization is challenged financially, because
we're busy making an impact.
We're busy making an impact.
That's been a focus, and it's hard to.
Yeah.
It's a zero-sum game with the limited effort between Gleb and me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it's an all-volunteer organization. The way that Gleb and I work, we're kind of like volunteer staff. Like, when I'm not gonna say, hey, I don't feel like doing it, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna like drop out. But that is often what happens with volunteers, just because by the nature of volunteering, some people have other commitments come in, and we really appreciate any and all work that people do, but we can't like make people stay, and they have lives going on, and that's kind of why in the long term we want to have staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Robert Hulse, would you be interested in being part of the group that's doing the grant committee work? Would that be part of it?
I never make a suggestion I wouldn't be willing to participate in. So I'd never make a suggestion I wouldn't be willing to participate in, because I don't think it's fair just to say, hey, here, you guys need to do this, and I'm going to sit back here, by the way, and watch while you do it. So
I hear that.
I have some time on my hands. I don't have professional fundraising experience, but I've got a lot of connections, and I think if we just have a small group of 3 or 4 people to work with Agnes to kind of come together, let's start with who we know, and then who they know, and kind of work our way out. And then as you're out there making contact with some of the bigger name groups and the bigger name organizations, you feed those back into the process as well, and let us take the responsibility of following up in terms of what that financial partnership might look like. It takes it off of your plate.
Yeah, that would be wonderful, because that's also a weight off my head, because that's definitely a weight on my head as well as energy. Thank you, Robert. And I just want to be clear that as part of the organization, we have a principle that it's okay to make suggestions, that you don't necessarily, ideas are different than tasks. We have a number of people who are advisors, and who we value people who make valuable suggestions. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be the one doing them. That's why I always check. So I really appreciate you not only making the suggestion, but also being willing to work on this. Thank you very much, Robert.
Go ahead. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to add to that totally, like, it's great when people bring up ideas and you don't have to work on it, but like, if we have a list of ideas, they might not get done. They might get prioritized based on like the board's feel for things and the board's current resources. Oh my gosh, there's a cat. Holy smokes. Oh, she hates this so bad. She can't wait to get off. But yeah, so like, great. We love suggestions, but like, don't hate us if we don't do it. It's just like, yeah, a thing. But if you can do it, that's awesome. Thank you, Robert. I'll follow up with you later. Yeah.
If anybody,
Serena has
hold on
a
for a
thing here.
second. If anybody else is interested in the same sort of thing, please put in the chat you're interested, and then Agnes will follow up with you later as well. We already have protocols. If anyone else is interested, please put in the chat window that you're interested. Thank you. Okay. Cool. Agreed, Robert. All right. So at this stage, again, I'm still waiting for other questions and comments before moving on to discussing the Pro-Truth Pledge. And I will count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, did you have a comment? Question? Yes, Robert. No? 2, 1. All right. So, Bentley, if I might ask you to turn on your mic and share a little bit about the Pro-Truth Pledge and where that is.
Yeah, so for the Pro-Truth Pledge, we've got the text.
Bentley, we can't hear you. You turn, so just so you know, there might be an issue with your mic.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yes, it is. Yep, I can hear you.
Great. Sorry about that.
No
Yeah, so for the Pro-Truth Pledge, we have the text figured out, both kind of like a short text and what the long text is, the pledge. We've put that into a website that has the kind of that and some frequently asked questions on it. We have a button on the website where people can go in and put in saying that they're actually taking the pledge, and we gather some information, including their full address, so that later on we hope to be able to contact their representatives when we get a lot of people in here and say, hey, you have this many of your constituents taking this pledge. We're not validating the addresses yet. We've discussed that. We got to figure out how to do that. Got a couple ideas. We also ask them whether they want all the kind of action alerts and the or if they just want to be, when something's happening, or if they just want to have kind of infrequent updates. And then we also ask them whether they're a public figure or a politician, or if they want to advocate for the pledge. We're going to be tweaking this form based on some suggestions from Gleb, and actually Agnes is going to be changing it over. I just plugged in MailChimp, and we're going to be using what they use in all the other websites for intentional insights. So we'll be changing that form and moving people over, but that's all technical back-end stuff. The website is not it's not a great design. It gets the point across, so it's kind of the V1. So we hope to be getting a logo. We have someone working on the logo, and we'll be looking for someone to kind of do some design. I've done some design myself, but I know enough to know that I'm not great. So we'll be looking for someone with some artistic skill, some choice of color to kind of help. And so we'll be posting shortly. I'd like to hold off on that till we have kind of the logo, because then they can jump on it and get designing right away, rather than having a volunteer ready and then having to wait for something. People tend to fall away. But we may, Gleb may tell me to do it another way. And then we need to work on the organization that's going to be kind of heading this up, and like if there's someone, a committee that if someone is kind of violating the pledge, what sort of things will we do as a community and kind of a body to kind of make that judgment call on doing that, and also just encouraging the group and any other administration that has to happen. So that's the basic of what's going on. Gleb, is there anything else you wanted to cover on it?
No, I think that was really good. Appreciate it, Bentley. And we also need to work, I think we also need to work on a committee of people who would be willing to reach out and coordinate various things on the pledge. I know that Jairus was working on this, but he had to, unfortunately, leave volunteering. He had some personal and professional commitments which were preventing him, and so Bentley right now is kind of in the position of being the only coordinator, and that's insufficient. We need a committee of people who would be working on various aspects of the pledge.
Yeah. And you've sent me several emails of people that are interested in it, and so I'll be reaching out to them and seeing who all is available, and just kind of move forward with finding. It's good to have at least 2 coordinators of every project. So
yeah, and ideally, kind of coordinators and a team of people who are going to be involved in various aspects. We'd like a team of people who would be oriented toward reaching out. So in terms of outreach, we think that the March for Science groups are going to be quite interested in the Pro-Truth Pledge. I've talked to a number of March for Science people who were interested already, so we think other ones will be interested. But that takes reaching out to them and selling them on it. And this is about a month away, literally a month, on April 22nd, that's the March for Science. So this is a really good time to be reaching out to them and making them aware that this is something they can make a plank of their March for Science in any city where they march. So this is a great opportunity. And then other groups, progressive groups, reason-oriented groups, churches, various other organizations. Yes, Agnes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. We were a little bit earlier talking about the fundraising issues and the kind of like limited time. So I just want to kind of make like a meta comment, like a more like bigger, higher level comment that what Bentley is doing is just an excellent example of what we need more of in this organization. First of all, this whole website was put together in about 48 hours, just because Gleb and I had an event on Tuesday at noon. And if you go to yesterday, so if you go to the Intentional Insights Insiders Facebook page, there are photos and actually a video of the rally, which was all made possible by this really quick collaboration with Bentley and Jairus, who had to step off. And what we're talking about in the fundraising is that like between Gleb and me, we have like very limited resources to coordinate folks. And can you switch that back?
Mm-hmm. I just want to put the video.
Yeah, we'll put up the video later. Is that our goal that we can do a lot more done as a volunteer organization if we have more people forming committees, which is essentially we have a Pro-Truth Pledge committee, and taking that kind of responsibility that Bentley is doing. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Bentley, and I hope more people step up and that, Bentley has a team of people to work with. And so I just hope that, I think our whole organization can get even more done if volunteers can get plugged into other more like different like structures of volunteers. And so I just want to say that this is working right now really well, and I hope to get that going with the grants committee and all sorts of other awesome stuff. But right now Gleb is kind of like running all the committees and a one-person committee on a lot of things, so that's really like holding us down. So I just wanted to say that, and thanks a lot, Bentley, for working on it super fast. And we had a really awesome launch yesterday, and I hope you guys check out the video. We're going to put it into chat in a moment.
Yeah, video looked great.
Yeah, so I'm copying the video and putting it in the chat right now for you to check it out.
Yeah,
so we'll put the videos. The video will be part of the content that we'll be putting on the website as we develop the website. Cool.
Yeah. And I just want to say that also, like, we know you guys might have heard about the Indivisible movement. That's just a couple of months ago, and they're able to have indivisible groups kind of resisting the Trump agenda politically all over the country in different states and different cities. So this is definitely possible as a volunteer effort to get something across the country, across the states, to have all sorts of politicians signing this. We just need to kind of set up a system for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is definitely, and just to be clear, we are not affiliated or aligned with the resistance agenda or the kind of the indivisible agenda, but we are willing to ally with them and any other groups that are willing to promote this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So Robert said that InIn is in a familiar phase from startup to operational organization. Yes, I definitely agree. We are transitioning from a startup phase to an organization that is, we have the content Now we need to scale up. Now we need to scale up, make things sustainable, and in very many ways. So this is kind of where we are with the Pro-Truth Pledge. I welcome any comments and questions on any aspects of this Pro-Truth Pledge. So unmute your microphones or chat, whichever is preferable for you, to get more about the Pro-Truth Pledge, and we can talk about organizing as well.
Was there? I signed it to say that one is considered. There's an element of it when you sign up where I'm asked to complete my subscription.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to take the pledge, I wasn't going to take the pledge with the idea of subscribing to anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that there's a data collection element to what you want to do, and I know that that's important to have that kind of build that database so you can use it tapping into it going forward. But was there any conversation about whether that subscription should be mandatory or voluntary?
I think there's an opt-out. There should be an opt-out stage which says sign up to. It's not the final form, so it's kind of like a super basic beta version.
Yeah.
But the actual pledge will have an option for you to opt out of mailings, getting things. The goal, so we need people to put in their address in order to talk to legislators and say, hey, this is how many constituents in your district say this. And we're going to have a default opt-in. But if people want to opt out, they're more than welcome to opt out.
And
that will,
yeah. Sorry, Brantley, go ahead.
Yeah, and some of the language on that, since we're using an email subscription service as the data collector, some of the verbiage we haven't cleared up all the places where it says subscribe to clarify it. And when we change over to the new data collection, we'll make sure that's clear that you're signing up for the pledge, and then you have an opportunity. We suggest that you get updates, because hopefully if you're pledging, then you hope to do something in the future. But yeah, that's a good point. We'll definitely work on making sure the language is clear on what's going on and what's happening.
Well, I think it would also be good if you put that language in there that you're collecting, that not to send me stuff, but to pass the information to my legislator. Just put that in there and say, this is why we're doing this, as opposed to creating a mailing list where people have a natural skepticism of putting any information in, but they don't want you selling it. And I think having that disclaimer that, we're not creating this to sell might also help alleviate that. So when you make it, that final step where I have to verify my address, my email address, and it comes back, people don't stop there because now they're concerned about what's going to happen to that information.
That's a good point. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate that, Robert. Other folks, other thoughts that you have about the Pro-Truth Pledge and any aspects of it?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Yeah, I read through the pledge and actually took it today, and I was really impressed.
Excellent.
And yeah, I was just wondering if the main target audience was for like on the constituent side, to go after, say, politicians and say, okay, there's, X number of your constituents in this district who've taken the pledge, or is it to target politicians and ask them to take the pledge, or both? And I guess if it's both, are they going to be differentiated, or is the plan just to have the same pledge and use it for both, mass constituents and the idea of individual politicians and legislators taking it as well?
Excellent question. So I'll take this, although Bentley was the one who thought of this, Bentley with Jaros. So maybe Bentley, you want to answer this?
Yeah, I can pipe in on there, and you certainly let me know if you have any other thoughts. The goal is to get the legislators to sign it and abide by it. The getting the citizens to sign it is both pressure on the legislators, and it's both a carrot and a stick. So if it's a carrot, they know that they will get more press coverage or social media coverage, at least, for when they do make announcements and state the truth. And if they have to back off of something, they will have cover from the pro-truth people when they correct themselves. So that's a benefit to them. So we do want to work on the wording to make that a little bit more clear of what the goal is. And we do, and that's why we do actually ask, are you a politician or are you a public figure? So later on the list we hope to be, and I think we're not even saying right now that we hope to display, we probably need somewhere to say, I want to be anonymous, or I'm okay with my name being displayed as on the Pro-Truth Pledge. And then we would have lists, and they would be segregated by, these are the politicians that have signed, and these are the regular people, the citizens that have signed. So that's kind of our goal and thoughts around it. And we're going to clarifying the language to make that a little bit more understandable.
Cool. Thank you. Yes, I really appreciate it, Bentley.
Yeah.
So, excellent. Yes, so I very much agree with Bentley, and I'll give you an example. So in the rally that Agnes and I gave our opening presentations, we talked about yesterday in Columbus. We were at rally allied with the Indivisible group in front of Senator Robert Portman's office, Rob Portman. And people there, pretty much, I think almost all of them took the pledge, if not all of them. There were about 70 people.
We got about 70 signatures. There were maybe 80 or 90 people.
Yeah, 70 signatures then. And then we went up to the Senator Portman's office and we said, hey, Senator Portman, here are 70 signatures from your constituents who say that they took the pledge and they want you to take the pledge. And if they can take the pledge, why can't you? So sort of this question. It's meant to not be like a gotcha thing. It's meant to be like we the people asking you to take the pledge have also taken the pledge. We can commit to it, and we are asking you to commit to it. So it's both a reward and an incentive for a politician to take the pledge. The incentive is saying that, hey, we're putting in a little bit of pressure on you because we're asking you to take it, but you will get rewarded with our support for taking it. And if you can imagine, one political candidate for an office taking the pledge and the other not taking the pledge, that would look quite bad for the person who didn't take the pledge, that they're not pro-truth. Robert says that we need some promotional products for those who have taken the pledge. Yes, that would be something that we would want to create. T-shirts and things like this. Also positive social media postings. So we are building up an email list with that. Okay, so Robert Halls, it sounds like, is interested in helping with the Pro-Truth Pledge as well. So Bentley, I would like you to connect with him afterward and talk to him about his help on the Pro-Truth Pledge.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Okay. Other questions and comments about the Pro-Truth Pledge?
Apart from the logo for the organization, are you thinking of designing a logo specifically for the Pro-Truth Pledge itself, apart from the organization?
Yeah, we recently recruited a volunteer who will I will work with her to create a logo that's like we want to co-brand so that the logo is distinct but similar, because this is a project of intentional insights. And so I'm going to talk to her, maybe like use the same colors but like do it a little different. And that's kind of what we're looking at. We have a logo that we developed for Intentional Insights a few months ago that we're waiting to roll out when our new website is launched later this year. So we're probably going to line up the colors with that upcoming logo.
Cool. Excellent. Other questions and thoughts? I want to check if anyone on this phone call who has not yet had a chance to express their interest in working on the Pro-Truth Pledge and being one of the advocates for it. That involves doing things like reaching out to friends, colleagues, being organizers in your local community for the Pro-Truth Pledge, helping Bentley with various aspects of it, doing various coordinating activities, monitoring politicians who have taken the pledge and ensuring that they're doing what they're doing, and being part of the committee that determines when, if a politician has violated the pledge, is it an actual violation, and so on. So there are a number of tasks that are associated with it, and I want to check if anyone on the phone call is interested in being part of the group that is focused on that sort of work. So besides Robert Hulse, who already expressed an interest, and I know that Don Kimmerling has expressed an interest. So that's what I'd like to know. Don is yes. That's it. Mm-hmm. Sure. All right.
Okay.
Great. So, let's see. So Robert Hulse has expressed an interest in being on the fundraising committee. So I want to check if anybody else besides Robert Hulse wants to work on various aspects of fundraising and grant writing, anything like that, to help the organization financially, investing their time to help the organization financially and free up my time so that I can be doing things like writing the book and articles and videos and radio programs and so on. You can chat or you can voice now. Okay, I'm going to count down from 5 and then proceed. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I want to see if there are any remaining questions, any comments that folks want to raise about any aspects of what was said, or anything else that might be of concern to you about the organization, or any other comments before we wrap up. I'm going to again count down from 5, and again you can either chat or turn off your microphone, unmute yourself, and ask questions. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, everyone. Thank you again for participating in this Intentional Insights board meeting. Really appreciate you being here, and thank you again.
Thanks for all you do.
Thanks for all you do.
Bye.
And Alex,
Thank you, guys. Good to see everybody.
Oh no, Alex, don't go. You're a board member. Everybody else, see you later.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.